Okay, Tony's wrapping something up, but we can go ahead and get started. Let's, I don't have my agenda, but let's begin with the prayer and Pledge of Allegiance. Jimmy, are you on there?
I'm working on it.
Okay. All right. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for a new day and a chance to take care of county business related to health insurance. Thank you that we are able to provide health insurance for our employees, and we pray that as administrators over this plan that you would give us wisdom and direction in planning for the future, and we just pray that we can continue to provide the best quality benefits that we can afford that's reasonable for this county. Thank you for the advice and direction of our consultants. We just pray for that company. We thank you for our employees that help us to manage this plan. We turn this meeting now over to you. In Christ's name, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, today is the 27th of September 2017, and we're here today for a special meeting to discuss performance of our partially self-funded, that's the right term, isn't it, Steve? Partially self-funded insurance plan, or what we call as county health insurance. And we've got all the best and brightest with us today from Higginbotham and from UMR to help us to understand what our performance has been and what we can do to ensure peak efficiency going forward. And so who would like to begin this meeting? I'll turn it over to you all, Steve, or your designee.
Kind of start us off a little bit, kind of taking you where we are, and all that. I have a spreadsheet with some stop loss quotes on it. Don't go with that just yet. So we're, what we're seeing so far is kind of what we expected. Okay, I may have actually expected to see the renewal be worse than what it was. We do have large claims that's coming off at the end of the year. However, we unfortunately, for the employee, we do have a cancer case.
Pull that mic a little closer to you. And in fact, since nobody's going to speak at the podium, anybody interested in watching this?
Okay. So what we have kind of right now is we have our renewal quote, and we have.
And you're talking specifically about our stop loss insurance?
Yeah, I'm just talking about our stop loss right now, okay? Which is kind of the most important piece of things that we're going to be talking about, okay?
One more time
yeah.
for new guys, will
okay.
you briefly review what stop loss insurance is?
Absolutely. Okay, so the county, well, most partially self-funded groups buy two types of stop loss coverage. Right. One is called specific stop loss, and that's for the one big hit. Okay. Right now, you're currently at a $50,000 specific deductible, so you're on the first 50 of any claim.
And give an example, without using names, how this helps us and why we buy this.
Okay. Well, the amount of the specific stop loss, I mean, it's just part of being partially self-funded. What you're doing is taking on the county's health plan. The county is taking on risk, all right, as a trade-off for premium dollars and with the potential of saving money if the plan runs better than expected. Okay, and that's why you go partially self-funded. And I can tell you that it has worked well for you. All right, you've been partially self-funded now for what, 15 years or maybe longer than that?
92.
92, okay. And just generally speaking, nearly every year you have really underfunded the health plan, okay? Your premiums going in really should have been more than what they were, okay, to really get to what they expected, okay? However, you're still running a surplus in your benefit account, okay? So what that tells me is that even though you weren't having enough money going in that account, all right, you still have a surplus there, all right? So had you been fully insured all during that period of time, you wouldn't have anything in that account. You would have paid a whole bunch of money to some insurance company. So overall, now you may have some years along the way that you're going to be in a deficit. I mean, it's just, it's just part of the deal, okay? But generally speaking, over the life of the time that you've been partially self-funded, you've done very well, okay? And I still believe that's what you need to be doing going forward.
And we're not going to run a deficit. If we expend more in health claims than we bring in, as Christie allocates some, $900? What is it, $850 per employee?
Yeah.
Our books show that for every employee we put in to a pot about $850 a month. And we hope that that pot of money is adequate to pay out all the insurance claims. And at the end of the year, if we run out of money in that pot, then Carl takes money out of the fund balance and kind of refills that. And so that's kind of how that works. But back on the stop loss insurance, so that we don't get devastated by a $250,000 claim, we have this stop loss insurance that steps in and pays when we hit $50,000 on a specific claim.
That's correct. And what we're talking about funding, we've had this discussion before about, not moving money over into the benefit account or, funding that account properly. But I've had a lot of thoughts on that. Okay, you're really doing it anyway. Okay, if you think about it, it's just accumulating in your general fund rather than accumulating in your benefit account, okay? I mean, it is what it is, all right? So instead of you building up a real big fund balance over in the benefit account, even though you have a surplus there, okay? If you had been funding that to expected or, what we feel like we should have been, okay? Then, you'd have had a bigger fund balance, but it's just sitting over in the general fund, okay? And it gives you the capability, to be honest with you, of using that money. I don't know whether you've got restrictions once you move to the benefit fund, it's got to be spent on benefits or not. But when it's sitting over in the general fund, you can.
It should be,
but it's not.
Yeah,
but it's not.
Yeah, but that's okay. Because I still think, you're still running a surplus. All right, so if you were over here in this benefit fund and it was like you're running a negative balance all the time, it's okay, we got to do something about that, But,
But we're still moving money over from the general fund each year into that, so it's not like it's self-sustaining. And the only money that comes into this account that's not county money anyway is what is contributed by our employees for dependent and spouse coverage, children and spouse
dependent contributions. That's correct. Okay, so that's kind of how the county works on it. Back to the stop loss insurance. So you have the specific stop loss, and if you remember last time we talked about the aggregating specific deductible, which is just a separate bucket over here of a deductible. That has to be used up before anything gets paid. So if you have one big claim, all right, let's say it's a $300,000 claim, then they have their $50,000 specific to meet, or the county does, the plan has the $50,000 specific deductible to meet, plus that $60,000 bucket. Okay, so for one big hit, you're going to be on the first $110,000. Okay, and then 100% thereafter. Okay, that's not usually how it works. Sometimes it works that way, but usually you have multiple claims that might, maybe a $60,000 loss or a $75,000 loss. And each one of those is reaching in that bucket to deplete that bucket.
You could use this attachment. Do they all have this? Okay, because this would tell you exactly in today's contract exactly what all applied to that, and it makes it a little bit clearer.
Okay. Okay, so Yeah, and we have a report that kind of would show you how that plays out. Let's not get into that yet, but so that's kind of how that, generally speaking, that's how that works. Is you have to empty this bucket. Okay. Now you might think that, my goodness, that's a really big number for that one hit. Okay, 110,000. But when we look at your premiums without that aggregating specific deductible, okay, it goes up 60 grand. Okay, it's almost always a dollar for dollar swap on that deductible against your premium.
And the premium without that 60 add-on is about what? What is it in the current year?
In the current year, you are like at 375.
375?
No, that's with the aggregating specific. Okay, so without that aggregating specific, it'd be 435.
Okay, so we spend about $375,000 out of our plan bucket in order to have this protection from these massive losses that could, or massive claims that could wipe out our. And it would be without that, it would be 60,000 more than the 375.
Yeah, so I mean, what you're doing is instead of sending that 60,000 to the insurance carrier, you're just banking it. Okay, you're going to hold on to it, and if the claims happen, they happen. If they don't, then you save. If you don't have a big
so
claim,
it's smart.
you just
Dollar for dollar, we're better off.
It makes absolutely perfect sense to have the aggregating specific deductible. Okay, so because without it, you're going to be paying more premium, almost dollar for dollar. Okay, and So that's as far as your specific deductible goes. You've got your specific and your aggregating specific deductible. After those are met, then the plan pays 100%. Okay, the stop loss carrier pays 100% on any of the stop loss claims. Okay, remember that the benefit design is different than the specific stop loss coverage. Okay. So then you have what's called aggregate stop loss coverage. And that protects you from having a whole bunch of little claims, well, I say little claims, any claim that falls underneath the specific deductible is what accumulates towards that, what we call attachment point. Okay? Right now, your attachment point is about $1.4 million. Call it $1.465 million. Okay, so for all the claims that total up underneath that specific, when it gets to be that $1.467 million, okay, then the aggregate stop loss insurance kicks in and starts paying at 100% of that. Okay, so there's two different types of protections on the big hit, and then the aggregate of all the smaller claims that fall beneath that $50,000 specific deductible. Okay, now I can tell you that we've been writing, self-funded, partially self-funded groups for a long time, and very seldom do I ever see that get hit. Okay, I mean they're pretty good at determining that number. Okay, how they get to that number is they go through the underwriting process and they calculate what your expected claims are going to be. All right, in other words, your groups, say. For right now, your expected claims under your current plan, they had estimated it, and this is for claims.
Do we need to be looking at this?
Oh, you can. This is that one spreadsheet right here.
It's on the right-hand side of the folder I gave you, behind the UMR renewal. So it's a one-page document. It's a spreadsheet. That's it.
Which is for
be in the right side of your folder, but the back page. There you go.
Which is really hard for me to read. Okay, so y'all bear with me if I miss some of these numbers just a little bit. All right. So that far left-hand column is your current plan with Zurich. Okay, and where I'm talking about, you go down about almost to the bottom on the left-hand side. You see expected claim liability. Okay, and that's $1,173,000, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, $1,173,000. All right, so that's what they expect for 2017. That's what they estimated your claims would be for all the claims beneath the specific deductible. Okay. Now how they get to the maximum claims liability is they take that amount for Zurich and they multiply that times 1.25. Okay, that gives them a 25% cushion on their estimate, okay, before it hits that attachment point. All right, so expected claims down to 125% is equals your attachment point, okay, or worst case scenario, the maximum claims liability, which is the number right above that. All right, and all of these stop loss carriers figure that kind of the same way. You'll see that that is a negotiable. In other words, if you wanted to have a smaller cushion, okay, say you wanted it to be like Guardian is quoting 120% rather than 125%, so there's a greater chance for Guardian that you would get the attachment point, okay, because it's 125% rather than 120% rather than 125%, all right? And you can buy that down to even 115%. But what you're doing when you do that is that you increase your premium. Okay, so the less risk that you take, the more your premium is. That's just how it works in the partially self-funded world. Okay, so that's how they calculate that attachment point. And we might as well, while we're there, let's just see there while we look at the expected claims liability for exactly the same specific stop loss levels and everything that you have now. Zurich is estimating that your claims are going to be $1 million. What is that? 510? Mm-hmm. Okay, which makes your attachment point $1,887,000. Okay, so and that's about a 28% increase.
Where do you see $1,887,000?
Well, the number right above the maximum claims liability.
Okay. Okay.
Under the renewal column.
Okay. So now understand what I was telling Mike earlier. These are pre-negotiated numbers. Okay, we're just now getting all these stop loss quotes in, and we even have some additional Guardian quotes that are not on the spreadsheet that we just got in this morning. So we're not going to be prepared to tell you we think you got to do this morning. Okay, these hopefully all of these stop loss numbers will be firm as of 10/1. That's what we're shooting for. Guardian's already told us their number would be 10/1. They want to see our large claims. Well, another report from Bar that kind of goes over large claims, what the total claims, where we are as far as attachment point goes, that sort of thing. Before they'll say their numbers are firm. And we're going to squeeze Zurich to do the same thing, and our other stop loss carriers in the same way. Because we need to have time. We need to be able to say, okay, these numbers are firm. 10/1, we recommend that you do. Stay with Zurich, at these specific stop loss levels or whatever, before we can actually make a recommendation, we want to make sure we have firm numbers. Because it doesn't do any good to make a recommendation, then after 10/1 they go, oh, because of claims or whatever, then we want to change our factors. So
they're expecting a significant increase in our claims.
They are.
Bottom line.
Yeah, and which based on your, prior claims experience, then, that certainly could be the case. But the thing I don't want you to get too, you have to consider it, okay? Worst case scenario, you're looking at a 28% increase on the expected claim liability, okay? But remember, that's 125% of what they really think it's going to be. All right? They really think your claims are going to turn out at $1.5 million. All right? And I don't know, where are we now? We're at $1.3 million right now. That's all in, right? But that's all admin and everything.
$590 for claims.
$5 net. Okay, so we're at we're just at $590 on our claim for now. Is that right? Through August. Okay, so.
Well, that doesn't include RX. So.
Oh yeah, that's just a medical claim.
Yeah. So the RX is 305.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. So that makes more sense. I thought it was. Okay. So anyway, so we're a little over 800,000. So in all reality, their estimated expected claims liability is probably going to come in pretty close. Got another 4 months worth of claims. You might be, but the chances of you hitting that attachment point is pretty slim. Okay? So my point in telling you all this is, worst case scenario looks really bad. Okay? But after it's all said and done, your claims are going to be what they are. The chances of it hitting that worst case scenario is pretty slim. It's probably going to come in, you know, right around where they're expected is. I mean, I don't expect your worst, you know, you be at $2 million in 2018. I don't expect that. Okay. So, and I'm, you know, you're not going to probably fund to that either. So, you know, when you have a bad year, sometimes it can look worse than what it is for the renewal. Okay. And once we get through all of our negotiating, everything, then we'll see how all these numbers fall out. And I don't think you're not looking at a killer kind of increase. Okay. You know, and we may recommend maybe bumping your specific stop loss up from 50 to 60, or bumping one of your, if it makes sense dollars-wise. Okay. Because what happens is when we bump those specific deductibles up, it lowers your premium. Okay? Now, when we do that, when we bump the specific up, I know it sounds kind of different, okay? But when you bump your specific deductible up, it makes your maximum claims liability on the attachment point greater. Okay? Because you're picking up another portion of claims that fall underneath that deductible.
10,000 more per claim.
Right. And that's less of a concern to me in most cases, you know, if it makes sense dollars-wise. In other words, if we bump our specific up $10,000, or, you know, and we get a $20,000 credit for doing that, then we've got 2 claims in the hole. Okay, that's an additional 10 on the
But how many claims have we had that have gone over our 50?
Three this year. Okay.
What about in the last couple of years?
But didn't we have a bad year about 3 years ago?
No, I don't think with several, we might have had a couple of big claims, but I don't think we had more than 3 that went over that.
I'm talking about the amount of money. They were large, real big.
Yeah, so here's the deal, Al. You can have one big hit and it not blow your plan up because you've got your specific stop loss. I mean, you can have $500,000 loss, and this is going to have, depending on whether it's ongoing or not, have very little effect on your overall performance of the plan, because anything over 50 is being anything over 110 is being reimbursed at 100%. See, so we can have a couple of bad claims, but if all of our smaller claims are still running about normal, then overall you still come out okay.
Well, but we adjust that premium like $850 a month. If you want to have a surplus, all you got to do is pay $900 a month. You know what I mean? So how's that compare with the real world? Sounds good to have a surplus.
It does sound good.
Maybe but we.
I mean, the biggest deal is it's not so much your employee-only rate, okay? It's just that your dependent, what you're charging your dependents are significantly lower than what the market is, okay? And that's okay as long as you know that, okay?
Yeah.
As long as you know that, and that's a benefit to your employees. If you want to increase that amount or those contribution amounts, and it makes the plan a little. Okay, no question. The more we can put into the deal, the more you're going to have as far as surplus goes. So, but anyhow, so everybody kind of, as far as how things are funded and how they roll through, one of the things that we have to look at that we will consider if we change stop loss carriers, and I'm not saying we're going to, but if we change stop loss carriers, there's a couple of things. We have to make sure that they're not picking on any one individual and putting higher specific deductible on, which they can do. Any new carrier coming in, they might look at a difficult case and go, instead of 50, we want 100. Or instead of 50, we're going to exclude, or something like that, which obviously is going to, any exclusion's a problem. They're out, but so we have to look at that. We also have to look at any new carrier that's going to have what they call a run-in limit. In other words, they're going to limit the amount of claims that come in that fall underneath the specific deductible. In most cases, that's not an issue. We just need to make sure that's the amount that run-in claim, run-in amount is, we feel like sufficient. Okay? So, and again, that's the amount that's going to go towards that attachment point or that maximum claims liability, which in reality is probably it's close to being a moot point. It's not always a moot point. It's pretty close to being a moot point. So those are kind of things that we look at when we start talking about going from the renewing carrier to a new stop loss carrier, and it's all part of the negotiating process. You know, it's like, well, we don't like this about your deal. The renewing carrier's doing this. What can you do? And it's a back and forth and a mess and match sometimes to get what we're looking for. So, but the good news is, and I'm going to let Chris have it here in just a second, is that your administration charges are actually going down about $13,000 a year. Okay, because of some additional pharmacy credit, and she has another opportunity if we change our pharmacy plan up just a little bit to reduce the premium, your admin, by another $41,000. Okay, and I'll let her kind of go through that. So, but before I do that, do you have any questions on kind of how things are funded? You know, as far as the stop loss insurance goes, that kind of thing. Right. Everybody good? So we hope to probably have.
We're really not even today gonna look at these Guardian and QBE options.
I mean, to me, it's it kind of gives you some kind of idea of what we're looking at, but these numbers are going to change.
Based on what your negotiations.
Our negotiations, our different deductible options, those kind of things.
And also too, the ongoing claims. You've got one person that just popped up with a pretty significant claim, and I think all the quotes you have are contingent upon the next claims run, which is through the end of September, which does not get generated until the first week of October.
Okay. So hopefully by the middle of October.
Will they agree to what Guardian agreed to get a firm quote by then? Okay, so not what the plan says through 10 months. Right. Okay.
This is just stock deal.
So what we'll focus on today is talking about our plan, where we might make changes to do battle against any new situations that are coming up that we're not anticipating.
Right.
Okay.
And just the overall picture, the fact that your admin's going down, that's a good thing. You have an opportunity to save, if you want to change the pharmacy stuff, that's an additional reduction that will offset, any kind of premium increase or claims increase that you're looking at. So, I mean, she has great news. As far as the stop loss insurance, we just got to kind of duke it out a little bit and see how it all comes out.
We've tentatively got sign-ups in late October, we need to make a decision on stop loss fairly soon after you get these quotes and finish your negotiations.
Yeah, and
in October.
The other thing too, I mean, really, as far as getting a firm deal on the stop loss is not going to really affect your open enrollment, with the exception of if you want to change any of your dependent contributions. Okay. Which, I mean, you need to visit about that. I know you kind of have a 3-year plan on that, which Mike brought up again today, but if you want to change those contribution amounts, that's probably the most important thing. And if we're going to have any plan design changes, which I don't necessarily think that's anticipated, we can talk about that, if you want to change deductibles or benefits or whatever, but the main thing is your contribution, are you going to change the dependent contributions? We'll have to know that before open enrollment. Any plan change, really. So the pharmacy deal is not going to really be, that'll be a plan design change, anything in there? I mean, it's all about kind of behind the scenes stuff. So, anyway, okay. Chris?
Great. Well, as Steve indicated, let's look at your market renewal, and that is on the right-hand side as well, includes your UMR admin fees. And looking at your current rate to what we're proposing for 2018, sorry, backing up a couple years. You can see that your admin fee right now is, for your medical claims, is $37.05 per member, per employee per month, and it is going up by 40 cents, so it would increase to $37.45. What is decreasing, but it shows an increase but what you're getting is an increase in your rebate fee credit. So currently, on that $37.05, we're reducing that by $9 for every employee. So we're showing 137 employees currently enrolled. We're reducing $37 by $9. We're actually giving you an increase to $17 for that rebate fee credit. Steve and Tony asked why did that come about? And it was a great question. So last year...
Can I ask this real question? Does
Yes.
the number of subscribers includes the number of employees or employees plus covered?
Just employees.
Your employees.
Yep.
We're at 137 employees now. That sound right?
Well, now you have your talk.
That's right, we added on probation. That was one, I'm still thinking 125. Okay, go ahead.
Yep. So the reason for the increase that we're passing on to our customers is that back in late 2015, OptumRx, which is the name of our pharmacy, bought another pharmacy called Catamaran. So now we are the largest pharmacy carrier for any third-party administrator that's out there in the market. And what that does is it gives you better buying power. So now we've got more volume to go into these drug manufacturers and say, we've got all these customers. So with just UMR, we have over 3 million members within the UMR family, and y'all are part of that. We go into these drug manufacturers and say, we have 3 million people that we can bring to you all to take your drugs. We want to get deeper discounts. And so we're passing that on to you all. Our systems actually got updated too, because Catamaran was a little bit ahead of where we were at. So instead of investing any money in that, we bought them. We now have a more up-to-date platform system for the pharmacy side.
Who bought them, UMR?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, OptumRx, which is, it's part of the United Healthcare family.
OptumRx bought Catamaran?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So the name Catamaran goes away, and
Yep.
probably we'll still be dealing with OptumRx.
We are.
Okay.
Yes, OptumRx is not changing their name at all. So what that did was we were able to pass on those additional discounts to you all as a fee credit. So you're now getting an additional $8. So there's going to be a total of $17 off of your $37.45 admin fee. You're now going to be paying $20.45 versus, versus the, 37 minus 9 is $29. I'm doing really bad math. So going on, we're going to continue to do the stop loss interface, which is UMR every month passes off monthly reports to the stop loss carrier that they require so that they're in the know of what's going on. And that's claims and anything so that they're able to reimburse you when there is a claim that hits over that specific. You're utilizing the United Healthcare Choice Plus Network, still averaging in the mid-50s on your discounts for overall, for inpatient, outpatient, your doctors, and any ancillary, which is your durable medical equipment and things like that. COBRA administration is going up by 2 cents.
Can I interject here for a second?
Yes.
Last time we met, I think we agreed that to make Sharon and Christy's life a little bit better, we would introduce the benefits in hand system that Higginbotham can do. If we moved COBRA admin to Higginbotham, does that change anything?
We just take that $1.12
Because the Hig cost is 75 cents per head.
Per year.
Per head per month.
Oh, per month.
Per head per month.
Okay.
Instead of $1.12 per head per month. Correct?
Yeah.
We're yeah. So there's something that could save you money for something that we're gonna just hook you up with. Okay?
We want that.
So remember that.
Okay. I'm making a note.
What you're saying there, you'd take over some duties.
If we
that
do the benefits in hand system, inside that system would be, when they make change and deletes to that, it automatically goes to our COBRA people. And that would save you, what? 37 cents per head per month.
Are we going to discuss that?
Yeah,
That
exactly.
part.
I mean, I'm just thinking about things that she's talking about that you might save you money and just reminding y'all about that, okay? So, thank you, John. And so your care management programs, utilization management, which is when someone needs to have surgeries, the facilities and doctors call UMR to let us know that you're going in to have these surgeries and how long you're going to stay so that we can help facilitate and manage that procedure. Case management. This is when someone has a condition that's listed on our list that we help the member, we help the provider to stay in network, utilizing the best providers available, answering questions. A lot of times we'll engage with the families of the member who might be having this treatment because they're getting taken care of by the doctor, but the family has questions. So there's a registered nurse that is assigned in any person that's in case management that they can engage with and talk to with questions. We have Nurse Line. It's a 24-hour a day, 7-day a week benefit. Your dental administration is staying the same for 2018, no cost increase. The pharmacy and out-of-pocket, medical and out-of-pocket integration fee is staying the same. Teladoc is actually reducing the fee from $1.50 per employee per month to $1.25 per employee per month. We still continue to have some fairly low utilization on Teladoc. I want to, this year I'm not going to be laid up with surgery like I was last year in the fall, so I want to help out Tony and Steve with the enrollment meetings with Christy and Sharon and see how we can better educate your members on using Teladoc. It's a really great service. And I mean, they can order prescriptions. It's just so easy to use. It really is. So I think if we can I've even used it since the last time we met.
I have pretty cool. It is. It is really easy. In December of last year, I got sick and I got on and I had my phone. And so I was laying I have vertigo. So you can't lift your head. You feel like you're on a ship. So I was laying in my bed with my phone like this and I'm seeing and talking to a doctor. And she actually didn't recommend a prescription. She said, I can call you in one, but it's really expensive. She said, try something over the counter. And she told me what to use, and it worked. So, but I never left my bed. That was how easy it was. So again, this is something that I'm going to really try to get the members to be aware of and help them engage. The medical transplant that is going up 1 penny. And you really do, that's a good, like your stop loss product, that's protection for the plan, so is your transplant program. So if anyone were to need a transplant, it actually comes out of your stop loss plan and off your plan here to where you're not paying for those transplants. That's why you have that protected program in place. And so overall, your administrative fee currently is at $36.23, keeping everything the same. We didn't pull out the COBRA. It actually goes down to $28.41 per employee per month. But again, if you move to the Higginbotham process, you could reduce that by $1.12 in addition. So you're saving, the savings would be for next year would be $856.08 for the reduction in the fees that we're offering for 2018. And that's keeping everything the same. During the year, last year and then again this year, we talked about, when I was here in March, we talked about some wellness programs. So when I was working my renewal with my underwriter, I negotiated some wellness dollars that we could provide to the county. We're offering $2,500 for wellness programs that you want to put in place. And within my proposal at the very back, it's, sorry these pages aren't numbered because it's an Excel document, but there's some pages, the last 3 pages, that say proposed optional services program. Now there's many wellness programs in here that we're talking about, but there is one that I think we are, I think might really be of interest to the employees. And that is a program called Real Appeal. So it's a program, a weight loss program that is very engaging. And there's no admin fee to it. It's all claims-based. So how the program works is the county would decide we want to have all employees eligible. You can include spouses, and you can include children 18 and older that are on the plan. But you get to decide who you want to roll this program out to. And it is very much interactive, so the folks would need to be able to have either an iPad or a phone or use their laptop at home or their computer at home to use it, because it is a virtual type program. It's got great results. I will be bringing more information out.
Don't they have to set up a biometric screen to determine those, so would they give a form given to the doctor?
They can, but they don't have to.
Yeah. We've done this with several other groups, and Real Appeal actually will coordinate through Higginbotham's wellness folks to kind of help implement it. Okay. We've done it with 2 large groups, and one was a trucking company. And what they did is they actually worked together with Optum to set up an on-site screening where you're doing checking cholesterol and blood pressure and all that. And because y'all are in one place, it would be a whole lot easier than trying to get a trucking company with trucks going across the country. Okay, but what I'm saying is that if you wanted to initiate the Real Appeal program and you did the biometric screen, you would really have a full-blown wellness program going. Because with that information, the employees can take that back to their primary care people and say, we may have elevated blood sugar, you might have a high cholesterol risk or a high blood pressure risk, and it's people that generally don't know that they have it. You can't force them to do it. It's their choice. But that biometric screen determines if you do it with Real Appeal, because I'm actually talking about Simply Engaged, aren't I? Yeah. Okay. So could they do Simply Engaged as well?
I don't know.
Okay. But we could do the biometric screen and feed it to Real Appeal.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So what the Real Appeal program works on is your BMI. Okay, y'all know what that is, right? It's your height and your weight and your age and all that stuff and that number. And the cool thing about it is everybody participating in Real Appeal gets this awesome box, okay? And in the box is a blender and it's a scale and it's all this really neat stuff. If you need to lose weight, it's something that you would get if you signed up for like a really great wellness program and there's no cost to you. It's like a NutriBullet in a box. Y'all know what a NutriBullet is?
Got one.
Yeah! Anyway, we do too. I have blown out about 5 of them, so I'm trying to get my husband to sign up for Real Appeal for a few bucks. Anyway, it's a really cool thing, and I think you really need, because we have tried a wellness program that really had no teeth in it, right, and no one participated. This would be fun. We've got people that testimonies were...
Well, like I said, it was just tracking it.
It's just basically encouraging, yeah, just who win. This actually gives people some incentive to actually do something. If you need to lose weight, and who among us doesn't? I mean, so anyway, something I really do think maybe I could bring back Katie, our wellness coordinator, that could basically speak to how we could interface with that. What they do is she gets reports from Optum, and she sends out reports to the group and lets them know how everybody's doing. It's a really cool thing. So,
Let's who know how everybody's doing.
Well, who's participating? You can't make them participate, and you don't know about what they're doing.
We just get a list of names. These people are participating.
You get a count.
You get a count.
Okay.
You don't actually know.
There's 15 people in the Real Appeal program.
And why she said you have to have a phone or a computer is because once depending upon where your BMI falls, you either assign your own coach or you just log in once a week, like if you're going to a Weight Watchers meeting, and you're given like the information of how to do more, how to exercise more, how to eat better, encouraging you
to exercise bands. So in the box, Tony talked about there's a blender, there's exercise bands, there's exercise videos, there is recipes for eating and making meals, but then you're also given the opportunity to work with a coach, or you can do the group setting, but it's at your pace. So, and it's not a 6-week program, it's a 52-week program. So we know that, you know, Real People came up with the concept of people don't gain weight overnight, and they also don't lose it overnight. And the ones that do the fast things, they gain it right back. So I rolled this out to a large hospital client of mine up in Wichita Falls, and they love it. I mean, they actually really took. And the nice thing is the employee and whoever you allow to be in this program, they can set the time that works best for them. So a hospital, they're 24/7. They've got nurses and doctors that work in the middle of the night versus the day and things like that. You have employees here, your sheriff department, they have shifts. So they can get set up with their coaches either in the mornings, afternoons, evenings. They're available for them. And again, this is not a per employee per month type of cost. What it is a claim cost. And there is a maximum claim cost that the county would pay based on how many people enroll.
What do you mean a claim cost?
So, you know how you went and had a flu shot?
Yeah.
This would, someone enrolls in Real Appeal and they go and they do their coaching once a week. There would be $103 is the first assessment. So that would come, that claim or that bill for $103 for you to enroll would come into UMR and we pay the claim. So on your weekly funding notice, that would be part of that claim. And we're going to offer you $2,500 to use for any of these programs we're proposing. So you basically, those claim dollars are going to be free for the first $2,500. And there is a cap. So if you enrolled in this program and you stayed in it for the whole 52 weeks, I think the most that the county would pay in claims is around $400 to $600. That's it. And then but you get the whole program for the whole year.
And the reason why United Healthcare is promoting Real Appeal is because obesity is the underlying problem for so many things. Diabetes, blood pressure problems, cardiovascular problems. It is the instigator or the precursor, I guess, for so many other ongoing chronic conditions. And that's why because Real Appeal is available to small groups now. If you've got a group of, 10, 15 people, you can do Real Appeal. So they're offering it to all of their whole market. It came out last year on a test basis and really had some good feedback. So, good results. Yeah, I encourage you to think about it, especially if they're going to give you this credit for actually attempting to do it. Again, can't make people do it, but it sure is a great thing to offer.
So Tony actually made a good segue. On the right-hand or left-hand side of your folder, there are some documents that I just wanted to provide to you about the plan and how it's running. The first couple of pages is what we call a plan cost estimator, and we can skip over that because I'd like to get into the pharmacy report. I brought the most current pharmacy report that's available, and we're going to talk about what type of conditions we're seeing. I do have some recommendations and some considerations for your pharmacy plan as it is today. Not so much, I'm not talking about co-pays, I'm talking about implementing some programs within your pharmacy program that can save you, the plan, the county money, but it also would save your employees money too. So if you'll look at this operating report.
Skipping past this,
Yeah,
going to this.
Yes, I'd like you to go to this report right here. So this report is through the second quarter of 2017, but within several pages of it that does contain data from last year. So in the first page is your drug utilization and your cost. Not a lot to say here. I mean, it shows the average membership. And now this is on this line, this is membership. That's employees plus all their dependents that they cover. And you have, on average, for year-to-date, for 2017, about 92 people that are members that are taking prescriptions. What I really want to concentrate on...
From Optum, you mean?
Yes.
There.
Yeah, this is strictly the pharmacy piece.
Through the county's insurance.
Through county's insurance.
Okay, explain that 92 figure to me once more.
So on average, there are 92 members within the 205 that have had prescriptions.
So you have some people that don't take anything.
Right. They're not taking any prescriptions.
Actually, a lot
And the membership includes all of our dependents
Yes.
as well?
Yep,
So less than half of them are taking any kind of meds at all?
right.
Oh,
Right. So that's why some of these recommendations I got for you today really aren't going to affect a huge population. And if you get a new member that's taking a drug, it's going to save them money up front if you consider some of these programs. But look down at the bottom of the members' cost share. This is how much percentage do your members actually pay towards your cost of your program, or just your pharmacy program? Year to date for 2017, it's actually gone down. It went down. You were having, in 2016, second quarter last year, you had 9% of your employees that were using a prescription were in their cost. Now we only have 6%.
Okay, so let me make sure I understand that. That's the members' portion, that's the members' cost.
Yeah, that's their
So
co-pays.
out of $100 year to date
Yeah.
now, they would $5.90.
Exactly.
Is that a good thing or not a good thing?
Well, it's not.
Well, because you can go to total drug costs and see what the drug is really costing.
Right. So it's not, but it is. So I looked, and you didn't change your prescription drug copays last year. So why the shift? Well, the shift is, a little bit of it is that they're now paying more in the generics. So we did get some movement from the brand and the non-formulary back to the generics. So that was a good thing. But you still have some high dollar prescriptions that are going on in your plan. So I was alarmed at first, but there's still, you know what the UMR, OptumRx book of business average percentage is on member cost share? 23%. So your plan is really, really low in the cost sharing that you put onto your members.
And why, where are we so far out of line?
Well, couple of things. I think you have a really nice generic cost of $5. Now, the good news is you really don't have anybody currently on specialty drugs because your copay is only $150, and specialty drugs are running tens of thousands of dollars per drug.
And you only have
What
one.
change did we make there?
You changed the copay to $150.
$150. You
But further
increased
into
it.
this report, you see that you only had one prescription filled for a specialty drug.
And that was actually at the end of last year, so
But I
no.
thought we made something else, that we made some other change, that we had to have a doctor authorization on the, you said, let's hurry up and do this so that we don't get clobbered.
Thank you, Sharon. Sharon figured it told me. All you did was add the specialty copay so that if you had someone on it, we could steer them to the specialty pharmacy we have, which is called Riova, and we would be able to monitor what type of drugs are. And you had one person in the fall of last year that actually had a prescription under the specialty program. So we'll get to what that cost was, and you can see where it was. But that's all you did was add that specialty copay last year. If you move to the generic utilization page, now the good news here and so this helps support the drop from 9% of the cost share to 6%. On the next page, under the generic utilization, under RX distribution, and I'm looking here to date, you come over to the far right, you increased your generic utilization from last year at this time from 77% up to 86%. So that's why your cost share went down, because more and more people are only spending $5 for a prescription versus, the tier 2 or tier 3.
But you'd also expect a reduction in the total cost of the plan to the plan because they're now buying generics. Why wouldn't it stay
Percentage-wise.
percentage-wise the same?
drug costs are going up, but you also have, and I'll get to it in a minute, you've got some higher dollar drugs that are being used right now that aren't really, because there's a program we can put in that would help alleviate that. So there's a drug out there called Diaxium, I think it is. I think I'm pronouncing it incorrectly. What that is, it's a combination of two types of drugs that are being made together. It's an anti-inflammatory, which some people, that causes when they take like an Advil or an Aleve, it may cause their stomach to get upset. So what this drug manufacturer did was put an antacid together with this anti-inflammatory. Duexis. It costs $2,200 for a monthly prescription for Duexis. And your members are paying $50 of that. In actuality, if you had this program in place called Me Too drugs, that's what we call it, it would not allow someone to fill that one pill. It would make a pill fill two, an antacid if they needed it, and the anti-inflammatory, which both of those options are generics.
So is that therapy? Is that a step therapy option?
It's not step therapy, it's actually Me Too, so we exclude it.
Okay.
We don't ever allow it. So, I mean, did you see on that first page, drug utilization, the total cost?
Yes.
Did y'all see that?
Yes.
Does everybody see that? So in just 2017, for the second
Utilization,
quarter, back on the drug utilization and cost page, the very first page.
Right in the middle line.
Yep.
There.
So it says total cost section. For just the second quarter of 2017, your drug cost was $115,000. You have 6 people taking that $2,200 drug every month. It's costing you $39,000 in a quarter. And if you kept going on this, it would be $120,000 a year for 6 people to use that prescription. That's
Who needs a drug like that? They can't accomplish the same thing with 2 cheaper drugs.
Right. Right.
But doctors probably don't know that, and they prescribe the newest JAMO.
Yeah.
But yeah, just see the co-pays that your people paid $62.05.
And that's not a generic, that's a name brand.
That's a brand non-formulary, so it's brand new, it's out on the market. These drug manufacturers are trying to be one step ahead of all the programs that the pharmacy programs are trying to put in place.
To restrict their prescribing.
Right.
Yeah.
So what they're doing is they're coming up with this combined prescription, and they're getting their doctors to issue it, and the doctors are issuing it until the member says, I can't get it. And then they go back to what they would have normally issued.
Just a game.
It is, unfortunately it is. So that's why we're trying to be, as proactive as possible. So I did want to point out, the generic utilization. Again, this is a positive.
We stopped you there. See, I thought we had something in place that would challenge a doctor's prescription when they start kicking out stuff like this that I'll call it
We talked
unnecessary.
about it. We talked about it. It didn't go into, we did not get that approved to go into place.
It was
This would do it, what you're fixing to tell us.
Yeah. We could actually put in, there are 3 programs that we can offer. Or we could put in one of these 3. And if the one of the 3, I would recommend, it's called the Me Too program. And it would alleviate members getting that $2,200 drug.
And others like it?
And others like it.
Because who would be the gatekeeper to say, we're going to find something better for you,
Right.
cheaper
And it would
for
be
you?
OptumRx. So when they went to fill that prescription,
There'd be a
then
flag that says,
there-
sorry, you can't buy this.
Yes, absolutely. And then the pharmacy would let the member know. Optum would then contact the provider and say, hey, this doesn't work. You need to issue out different programs, different prescriptions. This is not covered.
Yeah, that's the kind of stuff we need to have in place.
Over to the specialty drug.
It's not something that's gonna affect your employees' health.
Right.
You know, you're
And
gonna
that's where we need to
accomplish the same
save,
thing.
that's where we need the bang for the buck. If we're not denying them something that they've got to have, we're not interested in doing that.
Right.
But if there's a cheaper alternative, and in this case, it sure seems like there's a cheaper alternative.
Absolutely.
And you said the name of the program was Me Too?
It's called a Me Too. Yep.
And that's just an internal Optum RX program. It's not anything they need to remember. It's just something that the county would.
But we do have some information to help employees. We could give brochures, we've got documents we can share with employees so that they would be aware and they could ask the questions when they go to their doctor's office.
And you kind of already did this, so like we're in this program, and I go and they turn it on by the prescription. Is it to where we already get the medication before it already gets our insurance, and then that y'all come back and say, oh, you can't have it?
No. It would need to go through the system, right?
So they would know, I would know when I went to the pharmacy right then, that they would give me the.
Right.
But probably the pharmacy would, when they ran it through, would pop up and they would
Say
give
not
them,
yeah.
and give them these two alternatives, and then the pharmacy would have to call the doctor back
Call
and
the
get
doctor.
those other two
Yeah.
prescribed.
They'd have to call the doctor and say, you know, hey, they can't get this drug, you know, what else would be issued to them? Yeah.
One of the reasons that I moved in the drug is because you talked about it last year. I were running cap this year, and so they were gonna prescribe this, and I said no.
Good for you.
But, well, that's not a pat on my back, it's just that these other people are not sitting in the
Right.
don't know that.
Right.
That just made that I was just happy.
You were listening.
To be more
Right.
than anyone else, and so if you stop it before it happens, that would be,
Absolutely.
And one of the things I want to show you what you stopped, go over to specialty drug utilization, and in the fourth quarter of 16, you had one specialty drug prescription issued. Look how much it cost.
And then it's about 4 pages back. Called at the header is specialty drug utilization and cost.
See that?
Yep.
Yep. The one prescription, $10,582. One script.
Well, I mean, you told us there was this kind of stuff out there. At least it was just in the fourth quarter.
Right, exactly.
But what
Exactly.
alternative did we have there?
Well, good question. So, one of the other things that I have proposed, and I brought a flyer on it, is what we call our premium pharmacy program. And it actually has targeted the types of diagnoses that are running out there with those brand new drugs that are really, really expensive when there's already something in place that a member that hasn't taken this drug before doesn't even know about and hasn't tried the alternative. So this program is called our Premium PDL, so it's Premium Drug List Program. And it, again, we're not excluding a person from getting any diagnosis. Well, we're excluding the drugs, the newest, latest, and greatest possible one. But there's alternatives that they can get. By putting this program in place, and what I'm waiting for Albert to give to me is how many employees are currently taking one of these drugs. Well, the 6 that are taking that DXM are on it. And I did find one diabetic drug that members take. But I don't know the exact count. So let's just, what I'm seeing, because I'm proposing this on all of my customers, is on average, 10 to 15 people would be affected by this. So Optum has said, if you have and want to put this program in place, we will send out a letter 60 days before the change goes into effect. We'll send out multiple letters to the employees. We will call them and let them know there's going to be a change to their prescription and give them the alternatives that they can use so that they can go back to their doctor and get that new prescription written when the program starts.
And if they move to that program, then won't it save them?
Yes, so this is the program that would, you know, that rebate fee credit of $15 or $17, this will save you $25 per employee off your admin fee.
So an additional $8 over what she's already told you on the admin
Yes.
per person.
Why wouldn't we want to do that? Does it actually deny them the ability to get that expensive drug? It forces them to work
Yes.
out an
You're gonna get some
alternative.
blowback from somebody.
So they can't say, well, my doctor says this is really probably
Right.
the best for me. Well,
You know, my husband, I always like to use my family and myself as examples. Well, my husband just got diagnosed as a type 2 diabetic. And I work in this industry and do this all the day long. So I went with him to his appointment. He issued a prescription. Well, I'm kind of familiar with diabetic drugs, but I'm not. So he prescribed, and if you look at the sheet, it's the second from the bottom. It's the Zydu XR. So I go and get, he submits the prescription right from the office, and we go to pick it up, and the pharmacy said no cost, which I knew was wrong, but I already had looked at this drug, and it was $537. And we're on a high deductible plan, so I have to pay 100% so my deductible's been met. And so I was prepared, and they said, no, this is no cost. Your benefits, anyways, the pharmacy screwed up. They really shouldn't have given it to me for free. He took it for a month. The doctor said, I want to hear results. Well, my husband called the doctor and said, it's doing great. I said, good, I'll call in a prescription refill for you. Went to get it, and they said, well, we can't fill it. We need the doctor to do some prior authorizations. Well, I knew right then and there that they had screwed up on the first month, and they weren't going to get the prior authorization because we're on this program. This is what they offer us. So I went, looked up on the system, and found the alternatives, and I went to the doctor and said, pick one of these two, but he is not having his ID. And the reason why is it's not covered under our plan. Now, I'm in this business. I don't expect your employees to do these kinds of things. But I went from a $537 drug to a $40 drug. So you should be thinking about this, not just for your employees, because that is important. But this would save the plan from $537 to $40. That's a huge savings in claim costs.
so again, what are the negatives of this going with this?
Those employees that are currently taking something that's going to be excluded on January 1st.
The change.
Those that aren't on anything won't know any different, but those that are currently on something, and we will identify them, and we will let them know ahead of time.
That's what I'm saying. They need to be told there's other alternatives
Right.
out there, this
Right.
price to this price.
Yes,
And
and
that's
that's
right.
what we can do.
Let me ask you something. I had, this has just started, and y'all may know about, what's this calcium test that the doctors are talking about?
It's to see if there's any blockages, and it doesn't run through insurance.
Okay, but I'm
It's-
talking about, what is it?
Well, it scans you from like the chest up to see if you've got any blockages and arteries in your heart. Actually, 2 of my husband's friends have dropped dead in the last 3 months. And since we live in Linden, they've all been going to Little Rock for it. And actually, one of those friends that went ended up they found he needed a stent. But I know Titus Regional's doing it, and they're charging $75.
$75.
And I was told that they offered it to all of the doctors that are here, and that's where they found an issue with one of them.
Really?
Yeah, I wasn't gonna say that, but you said, okay, there you go. Anyway, so, but yeah, and when he went, they actually found 3 blockages and let him go. They wouldn't even let him go home. They sent him to the hospital. But as I understand it, that is just something that select hospitals are doing. I know there's a facility in Little Rock that's doing it. I know y'all are doing it. And I've actually talked to a group down in South Texas near Beaumont, and that apparently hospitals all over are doing it. But I don't think it's, the way they run the claim, they don't run it through insurance.
Yeah.
It's like those guys.
You don't go through insurance or anything. You just pay the 75, but if you got,
You pay it.
it looks at blockage, that to me is pretty
Yeah,
cheap to know your.
Yes, cheap.
Yeah,
It's cheap.
yeah.
Versus result.
People were telling me about it, and they said that's what it cost was $75, and I think that's good if you can find a
I did
blockage.
mine, but I had to plunk down $75, and that's
Yeah.
we can't get that paid for in our plan.
Well, you probably could. Even right in your
Yeah.
budget. I mean,
You could add that to coverage.
I'm just telling you,
No,
people I
I
talk
just
to,
know that they're not all
you can go up there
$75.
and they
What
tell
the
you
Blue
what
Cross
stopped up.
But, and I've been told it does a little bit more than the one here
You can't
in
help that.
Titus. So we're going to Little Rock, to Blue Star, so we're gonna go up to Little Rock and Hammerman, knowing full well that, you know, it's not gonna be covered under anybody's insurance, so. But y'all
Well,
are
our
sorry.
typical employee's not gonna spend that $75.
Yeah, but, that's, maybe that's something you can make as part of your provision.
You have to have
I don't know.
bypass surgery, you might be able
That's,
to
to
do.
me, that seems like pretty cheap. I mean, $75, let's say we can get 100 people to
Yeah.
take advantage of it.
We started last year with having the physicals and these type things. I truly believe it will more than pay for itself. After we've got it in force for 3 years, I think you're gonna see things that maybe cancer or other things, blockage and these type things. If you can catch it early and you can correct it, your cost is gonna go way down over a period of time.
I agree.
Preventive is the way to go. Let's prevent these things before they ever happen.
Right.
So would we add like that to provision coverage, or what would you?
I gotta find out more information about
Let's
how they
check
bill
on
it, but I wrote it down to check into it and see what the,
They're probably not gonna bill it, the way I understand it. It's not even, the hospitals that are doing it, they flat out tell you, we're not gonna bill this to insurance, you just have to pay.
Yeah, you're gonna have to pay
So
for it.
it may be something, I don't know whether.
And why are they doing it? Just to keep their costs down? Or are they
I
trying to,
think, yeah,
are they
it's
trying
their
to?
administrative costs probably, and because, so maybe that could be something that if the employee has it done and gets a receipt.
Like a
maybe-
mammogram deal or bust
Yeah,
or
maybe you
something?
could just send it in to UMR and have it reimbursed after the procedure's done.
so we'd have to, how it would be paid though, we'll have to find out what kind of CPT code they're using to identify whether, and the diagnosis, would it steer to preventive or would it be under medical? And if they're having an x-ray or thing done at the hospital, that's an outpatient setting. So that's subject to deductible co-insurance. So let us do some research on those factors to see how it would fall into what bucket for payment. And then we could bring it back to y'all and say, how would you like to pay?
That's the reason I brought this up, because just things I'm hearing out there and talking with people and stuff like this, I think that would be a good preventive deal if we have blockage somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
And we can,
I mean,
a
that's
lot of
all
times you use
silent
medication, you don't have to do surgery.
Well, it saved Dr. Merriweather's life.
Yes.
Well, see, that's a perfect example too, Mike, of something that you can do when you're partially self-funded.
Right.
That you couldn't do if you were fully insured. You just get what you get, So it's a perfect example of how you can be a little more creative. If it works out, it makes sense to do it, and, things like that you can do when you're partially self-funded, but you're not gonna be able to do, if you're fully insured.
Because I'm gonna do it regardless what we're doing.
Right.
$75 is cheap to see if you've got blockage somewhere.
So let me make sure I'm understanding this too, Chris. So if we do this particular program, we get 41 grand off of admin up front. Okay, that's it, that subtract comes off of your administration costs. Plus, you're gonna reduce your claims costs, like for this past period, I don't know whether this digestive enzymes with drug, there's nearly $12,000 worth of,
Go to the top 25 drug costs. There you go.
Yeah.
That's the one.
but is the second one of those? I wonder if it's one of those that's in that.
No, I did not find that on this list.
Okay. So anyway, say you turn that $39,000 cost for, this is for 8 months?
Yes, no, that's 1 quarter. That's one.
$39,000 for 3 months. So you're talking about trimming $115,000.
Okay, I'm writing down changes to the plan. What do we call this? So the what we're talking about.
It's called a premium PDL program.
What does that stand for?
Prescription drug list.
Okay.
So for that one change, you're talking 160 grand.
Okay. We thinking that sounds good, gentlemen?
And with no effect on your employees' health, we're still gonna get the,
All you gotta do is go back, instead of one prescription, you get two.
that two or whatever.
Right, right. And one of those that
Man, I'd have to have
companies like that pull stuff like this and combine drugs and stuff, that's robbery to me.
Absolutely. They're also
That's
now
theft.
starting to put dye in prescriptions, and then they can put their cost up, just to put flavorings or dyes in it. The pharmacies out there are just, they're coming at everybody, and none of us as consumers, we don't know. We don't know the difference. I mean, even me, and I'm in this every day. That's why.
Well, there's some stuff I know that's brand name that's probably better than some of that generic and stuff, and the doctor can work with you.
Right.
But charging prices like that,
I know.
I think that ought to be prosecuted.
Call it Mike.
I will.
What was the other one, the Me Too? Is that one that we wanted?
That actually, when you put this premium program in, that's part of the program.
It's part of the premium PDL?
It's part of the premium PDL, it's the Me Too
Okay.
drug program.
So at the next meeting, when we talk about approving changes to our plan, we want to consider implementing premium PDL.
Yes.
Okay, so that's one thing we've
Yep.
done today.
Yep.
And I got my COBRA proposal from HIG, and it's actually 70 cents per person. That includes takeover of current COBRA continuance, general notices for new enrollees, qualified event administration, monthly billing and premium remittance, carrier eligibility reporting, and it includes state continuation.
And what is this COBRA?
This is one of your action items that I mentioned before, that if we, at next year, as soon as we can get the benefits in hand system, can we change that when we get them implemented? Okay.
The benefits enhanced?
You remember the online enrollment thing that we said would help?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask you. What is the
Yes.
name of that we wanna do that'll relieve some burden?
Benefit in hand online enrollment system.
Benefit in hand.
In hand. I don't know why.
Online enrollment.
Christmas present.
Yeah, actually for next year, anyway. But
When you
anyway,
say for next year, starting January.
we can't do it
Yeah,
this year.
yeah, starting January.
Yeah, well, actually, we're gonna start February, but we'll go back and pick up January because we can't put any new groups on until February. But if that will, on the list of costs, that instead of $1.12 would be 70 cents per member per month. I said 75, but it's 70.
Okay, where does the cost come in to get that benefit in hand online enrollment, whatever it is that's gonna help
That's,
them?
remember I told Steve, we're gonna give that to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
She told you.
Steve's gonna pay for it.
No, I said that we would pay for it. Actually, there is no cost to implement. There is a cost for the ACA administration, but it's nominal compared to, it's like $3.50. And I'll have the total proposal for you to add to everything. I'll send it to you.
Okay.
Okay? So what else do we need to talk about?
There really wasn't anything other than, and I know this is, we talk about this, but and I understand the sensitivity, and I've always talked about using mail order. So if you go to the mail service utilization page, if you come down to the bottom where the last line where it says RX count, percentage maintenance, RX count, percentage non-maintenance, and you go all the way over to 2017 second quarter, there's a retail column and there's a mail order column. On the retail column, the first line of percentage maintenance, 73% of prescriptions being filled by your members at the retail, so your local pharmacies, are what we call a maintenance drug, meaning they take it every day, every week, once a month, that actually could be filled in mail order. And the members could, now that's something you could put in place is, and it's not part of the premium PDL program. And I know, I just bring it up every time, just so you know.
Why are you saying, why are you hesitating there?
Well, because we've had this conversation is, what we would do is force your members to take their maintenance med and run it through the mail order.
And I'm in favor of that. I've converted all of mine. I still don't like the Optum website, and I'll show you why, but everything I take, I'm getting mail order.
They're saying your local vendors.
That's right.
Right.
I can no longer worry about them. I've got to worry about these crazy costs to the county so that I can maintain these good benefits for our employees. Sorry.
So there's a program that we could put in place. that they could get 2 fills at the local pharmacy, but on the 3rd fill, they would be required to go to the mail order and get that from then on for the rest of that time if they're taking that prescription. So their doctors are going to have to write a prescription for more than 90 days, and they would use the mail order program. And you've got 73%.
What do you mean for more than 90 days?
So on a mail order, you don't want to have the doctor write a prescription for just 30 days.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Because mail order is a longer length of time.
And I'll tell you something else. If you were fully insured with United Healthcare,
You'd have to do it.
you would have to do it.
Yeah.
Have to do it.
All carriers are requiring it, every one of them. In mail order, because again, you buy in bulk, and the discounts are huge. They're even better than going to the local store and getting that generic drug. So 73% of your prescriptions are considered a maintenance drug and could be filled in the mail order program.
Okay, commissioners, who would not be okay with doing that?
I would not be okay.
Tell me why.
Because all our local businesses pay taxes here in this county. These companies here don't pay a dime. And we're looking at putting people out of work. We're looking at businesses going out. You can't compete.
Tell me how that's going to happen.
How that's going to happen? If everybody starts ordering through mail and stuff, there's a lot of personal service. I can call my pharmacy at 2 o'clock in the morning and they'll come get my stuff if something happens.
Okay. Even if it saved the county $100,000 a year?
I don't look for it to save that much money.
Oh,
What's our total prescription cost running? Let's look at that figure. What's our total annual prescription cost?
Right now, for the
Not counting the high dollar drugs now.
No, you don't have any high dollar. Well, you've got those in there, the 39,000. But right now, for the first 8 months of this year, you've spent $305,000 in prescriptions.
She can probably give you an estimate on what it would be to go that program. In other words, if you, based on your same maintenance experience, if everybody's taking maintenance drugs with the mail order, you could probably give an estimate on annual savings. That'd probably give you a better idea.
I don't want to ask them, what was actually being spent last year
On pharmacy?
on pharmacy?
Which say 300 what?
205,000.
300.
For the whole year or year to date?
Now,
Now, for 2016, your pharmacy cost was $359,000 for
What
last
are
year.
we 8 months through the year?
$305,000.
So we're going to hit 400,000.
Yeah.
And here's my.
It's primarily those that's.
You've got your top 25 pharmacies listed, and there's the only one that's in Mount Pleasant. Well, there's CVS and Thurman's are way down the list.
Yes.
Clinic Pharmacy is the number 1, but you can see what.
The clinic pharmacy is the one that costs the most.
Yeah.
So they're the most expensive pharmacy that any of your members can go to, meaning that they charge the most. Their overhead is that much higher than everybody else. I mean, I realize they're a locally owned pharmacy, but they've got a lot of overhead that they're charging for providing.
Well, they may just not have the cost savings that these other larger
But
pharmacies.
sure, the CVS's are national and Walgreens and things like that.
Oh, that's where most,
What is ASD?
that's where most people buy their drugs.
Oh, yeah, and it has been forever and ever.
Yeah.
And people got used to going to clinic because they were the easiest to work with our previous insurance.
Okay.
And everybody's developed a good relationship there. They're service-wise, probably hands down the best in town.
Absolutely.
But here's the question, guys. If we show that we can save however many dollars, $50,000, by forcing employees to use mail order for their maintenance drugs, in other words, the ones that regularly, they're going to take them 365 days a year. If it could save, I'm just going to throw out $50,000. I don't know what it will eventually be, but
They only spent 39,000 through, what period is this?
This is through just the
This is
second.
8 months? Oh, it's just second quarter.
This is just second quarter of
Okay.
this year.
Oh, okay, this is just one quarter of it. $38,000 a quarter is what's been percentage of plan, so.
125.
I just wonder how much of that is in
So the question is, would you look, we're looking for ways to save nickels and dimes and dollars. Would that be something that you would consider, knowing that, just like Mike said, you're going to be reducing revenues from one of your local vendors if you force employees to go with mail order? You know, the pros are you save money for the county. The negatives are you reduce revenues to a local vendor.
Right, I would suggest before you try to make a decision, let us get some kind of estimate.
Oh, yeah, I'm not asking for a decision today. I'm just thinking that's going to be one of the decisions.
That's an easy decision. If it's 50,000, that's maybe another decision. I don't know, you know, so.
Yeah.
You know, maybe it's not that much. So. Can you make a note of that?
I did.
Okay.
Yep, I already did. I've got it on my list.
Okay.
Any other questions on your pharmacy?
Not in pharmacy.
Okay.
Are we going to look at non-pharmacy expenses and ways to?
Well, the nice thing is, there's no ACA requirements for this year, for 2018, to have to put in. You know, if they're come out in years past and said, you had to make this change or that change. I don't have any of those requirements for this year. You know, you made some changes to your ER.
And let me just stop right there.
Okay.
I'm going to make a suggestion. Your two plans are too close together.
Agree.
There's not enough of a difference to matter.
Review that for these guys. Where we ended up. That.
Well, hold on. It's very confusing for people to make a decision, is it not? Yes, between the two plans.
If they don't have the dependents, you go up, it's a no-brainer. But if you have dependents, it's your choice if you want to make more and have a higher out of pocket than our.
How many do we have that opted for the buy-up plan? Roughly.
10, 12.
Well, the buy, I'll look at the other one.
Anybody that has an dependent will be doing the other.
The other, what other?
They were at the base.
Okay.
My question is, who's going non-base right now? Who's utilizing the, not who, but how many are utilizing the buy-up plan?
Majority, yeah.
Oh,
That's
really?
like me, because I'm gonna do the buy, I don't have dependents, so why would I do the base? Well, it's, I have dependents, so I wanna do the buy.
You don't have any dependents,
You have-
meaning not even a spouse. But me, who has a spouse only, I'm going to look at it.
Like Carl, he has the base, because his
And the main reason is because once I add that dependent, my cost goes up significantly.
This is through March. Okay. Comparing our two, we've got 90 people on the buyout plan.
90 employees.
90 employees on the buyout plan, 40 on the base.
Wow.
And all of your dependents are on the base. Everybody that's got a dependent is on the base plan.
So what would make sense here to?
Okay, well, let's just talk about this, okay? If you've got two plans, the premise for having two plans is to have one that's going to be a savings to the group, to the entity, to the county, okay? And then have another one that is much richer benefits, but you're going to make that person pay a difference for that much richer benefit plan, okay? On y'all's plan, the drug card is exactly the same with both plans. There's no difference in that. The emergency room copay is exactly the same. There's no difference in that. The deductible on the base plan is $1,000. On the buyout plan, it's $850. Okay, generally speaking, when I suggest an employer group do two plans, there's at least $5,000 difference with deductible. Maybe, $5,000 to, well, you can't do that anymore, but say like, they used to could, but say you do a $2,500 and a $5,000 deductible, and I know that's nowhere near, but say y'all do a $500 and a $1,000 deductible, okay? Make one be really good, but make them pay for it.
Instead of 15 to 12.50.
Exactly. Keep it at $850 and make the buyout plan be $1250. have some teeth in it to make it say, this is a great plan, and I'm gonna be willing to pay the difference for it. There's only, oh, okay. Your out of pocket on this one, it's excuse me, let me find the right line. The base plan is $6,550, the buyout plan is $4,000. Now that's pretty good. I'm not arguing with that. But you've got the same co-insurance for both plans. 80% in network, 60% out. Generally, your base plan might be a 70-50 co-insurance and your buyout plan be 90-60. Or I'm just throwing numbers out. Your doctor's visit is the same, $25 for both plans. And again, sometimes you're going to see a difference in copays. Maybe a $20 copay for your buyout plan and a $35 copay for your base. And I'm not talking about dramatic changes, but people ask Sharon. Does Sharon ask us, what do we tell them what's a buy? Because this looks exactly the same.
Well, what happened was in the last few seconds of that decision last year, the court couldn't increase the cost that dramatically on that one plan, and so we whittled it back, and then instead of having a good diversity between the two plans, they became nearly the same.
Almost the same.
Christie?
When you're talking about having one substantially better than the other, as far as the employee like myself, that I'm covered anyway, if I come in there and say, hey, I want the Cadillac plan, the only way that we're going to benefit that is if I'm charged $25 paycheck to get it as an otherwise.
And that's the biggest thing I didn't even say that. The cost of the employee is zero for both
So that would
sides.
be the biggest change is we would, if you want it, then you're gonna have to pay whatever y'all set a paycheck for the employee that doesn't pay anything now. If you want it, you'll pay.
And if you don't want to make somebody pay for it, I suggest you just have one plan.
There's not big.
I agree.
There is not, I mean, this is paying for them.
I agree.
And paying for us because they asked us the same question.
Y'all
Why
understand
are
this?
free? What should I do? But that is it. People with dependents are taking the base. Everybody else, why wouldn't they? It is a free plan to them. Why would you be stupid not to?
So how about we?
Only 9 people. 9
How many-
9 people are taking the added value tax?
No, the base plan. Only 9 are taking the base plan.
Oh, and everybody else.
Everybody said, I want the Cadillac plan.
40 are on the base, 90.
90.
90 and 40, not
90 and
90%.
40, yeah.
40 are on the base plan.
Okay.
Because we made the Cadillac plan free to them. Why wouldn't they take it?
Sure.
So here would be my suggestion, why don't you let us do a dual option and then a single plan to bring back next time just as a starting point for you. Okay? You know, and for you to look at and consider, okay? You know, that would just be kind of my suggestion, you know. So a dual option plan and then just a single option that would kind of be pretty close to what you're doing now, you know.
Okay.
So you got to have some kind of
Well, my
spread
recommendation
the employee
is-
plan a little bit, you know. So don't you think of it?
Yeah, what I was gonna say is, I mean, because honestly, we're talking very little, Chris, very little benefit to the plan to tweak this stuff by $100, right? It's minuscule what you're saving on your total plan cost. What you're doing is making confusion the rule here. And so I'm gonna just kind of go out there and say, you know, if you do, I'll come up with you a dual option, but if you're gonna take a single option, then you just keep it whatever the buy-up is, since that's where the majority of your people are. And come up with different rates for those dependents to be on it.
That's why I almost hate to make you spend time coming up with a dual option if we're just gonna look at it and go, no, I can't
Because
live
those
with that.
dependents are not going to be the buy after you spend your time coming up with another plan. And the majority of the employees, I do right now, I do basic. Because I mean, I know, you know, right now, I don't know what, I just do basic until I feel other things that I need.
But the buy-up plan, actually, there's not that much difference in the base, and it makes your people actually pay something to have that benefit. So that could be the thought, that you just take it to one plan and you're still covering all your employees, but you're making your dependents pay a little bit more.
Well, And ultimately, it gets down to the decision of these guys is what's going to be that weekly or that paycheck impact on a particular employee. If they feel like it's too much burden, they're going to vote no.
Well, I still say, think about doing away with the dual option. If you're gonna do that, come up with some new
I
rates.
totally agree personally.
So do you want me
Would
to come up
anybody
with a
want to
dual
give
option or not?
Tony some direction there? In other words, are you willing to pile additional burden on the employees in order to save the plan money? My assumption and from in previous votes is that's a tough decision for you to make, and you're probably not going to make it. Anybody want to throw out an idea there to give her some guidance? Because let's don't put her through the trouble of coming up with another dual option plan if you're just going to look at that extra cost to the employee and say, no way I could ask them to do that.
Your claims cost difference, like Tony was saying, is not.
If it had a huge sum
not enough
savings to the plan, it'd be one thing, but that's not where our burden is.
You're doing a much better job going with the new pharmacy program as far as affecting your overall costs than you are messing with your benefits and what that's going to affect you. So then you might want to address. I know you're kind of scheduled for a little bit of an increase on the dependent contributions. So you got
Well, actually, we're scheduled this year for a pretty good hike in the employee, spouse, and children coverage.
And from my recollection, I'm thinking that we're gonna pretty much go along with what the rates are on the buyout plan. Y'all remember that?
Did we end up charging any employees more because they did not get their, that means everybody got their,
Well, let's check.
good.
Some of them are questionable. If they go get their blood pressure checked, I think that counted. That bleeds a little bit. Or you go get your eyes checked, so that counts as a wellness.
It doesn't need presented that you get a benefit.
And if you're not gonna penalize,
Please don't say you're penalized. Only you get a benefit, you're not gonna be, your premium's gonna be less if you go get this. It was worded that you were penalized.
if we got some feedback on that, we'll all get
I'm thinking that from my recollection, you had that step up to get to charging more for dependents.
Yeah.
That's gonna be real close to, I think, what those buyout plans are.
Okay, so you're thinking one plan, come back with some kind of.
I'm the only one who's spoken.
Okay.
Anybody want to give them some thoughts?
Have y'all had anybody ask you what plan's better?
Let me do some thinking, I'll come back.
Yeah, I mean, our deal here on that is, it's gonna be, if you come up with one plan, it's gonna be pretty close to your, probably the buyout plan, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
I'd like for you to get a chance for each one of us, or two of us come by at a time.
That's fine. So no real significant changes in the benefits, okay? Especially if you're talking about bumping your dependents up.
Let me just ask this real simple question. There's no point in going by there and making a special point. Under any circumstances, are any of you going to be willing to increase the cost to the employee for themselves or for their dependents in order to save this plan money? If the answer is no, then
Well, the answer is yes for me. I mean, it's ridiculous, the difference between everybody else's insurance and what we have at the county. So much cheaper. It's unbelievable. And to add a little bit more cost, I think the employees should be willing to do it.
Mike.
You know, insurance is a benefit for all our employees. You say, well, it's not a big deal for them to pay a little more. They're sitting there, people out there are struggling to pay their bills every month, and we want to go up. Now, I don't have a problem if we go up accordingly, but a lot of these people are living from week to week. They don't make $25 an hour.
In other words, that's the way we do everything up here. These county employees are better than the rest of these 32,000 people.
Now, these county,
they do 32,000 people
up here work for the public.
Yeah, well,
they
they
pay their bills like everybody else.
That's right.
They're not. If they go to
and we give these employees all kinds of benefit. Every break we can, raises, whatever. Nobody else has got raises. It's wrong.
Well, they're not paid like the other person.
No, they're paid a lot better than the average, but our benefits are so extremely, extremely better than anybody else.
About their wages, I think.
Huh?
I think he's talking about their wages.
The wages are better than most other people's too. Especially the elected officials.
I disagree with that. And I think the county employees ought to be respected, and they ought to receive a decent pay, and they ought to receive decent benefits. Now, we had insurance with insurance companies when I first come in here. We started looking at this where you self-insure. We're not paying all these insurance companies all this money, and they're taking it and making profit off of it. And we didn't have any insurance. Our insurance was horrible. Now, you've got good insurance. You got Medicare, Medicaid.
Why don't I just look at the document that y'all agreed on 2 years ago and what you agreed to go up and see how much those costs will be? Because I think that's what we've been telling.
That's why, I mean, did we vote, they first did that process, I think downstairs, but yes. So whatever, was that not voted on at that time?
Well, the 2018 projections that we had agreed upon basically stayed flat for employee and children. It went up a little bit for employee and spouse, and then for employee plus spouse plus children, that was where the biggest jump was. But the point what we were trying to do was to start a regular trend of increasing the cost to an employee for their dependent coverage. I don't think anybody was in favor of increasing the cost for an employee-only plan. But we know that we are very far behind in what we are charging for dependent coverage. That's where the inequity is, in my opinion, and that's where we need to stay continually committed to a gradual increase in these dependent costs.
But no gradual increase in the other insurance costs. Are you familiar with what other people pay for?
And what other insurance costs? To
the employee.
To the employee.
Just the employee.
Me personally, yes, I'm in favor of that. Yes,
in favor of what? Which way?
I'm in favor of a continual, gradual increase each year to get us more in line of both employee cost and dependent cost.
I do, and I agree. That's exactly what I think.
If I can't get both of those, I'm going to say that the dependent cost is where the biggest inequity is right now. But I know that it's difficult for members of this court to pile on large annual increases. And so that's why I say a small increase each year, if we're consistently doing that, is a whole lot better than.
Now, why is that? You said it's difficult for this court to put increases on the county employees, but it's okay. This is why.
I'm just evaluating previous votes. Is what I'm saying there.
Okay. Well, but that's what's wrong with the government. This is why they need to drain the swamp in Washington, because we do everything to get reelected. We don't make the hard choices because we don't have the nerve to do it. We want to keep our jobs. And that is so wrong.
Speak for me on that. I have my reasons, but getting reelected is not one of them.
Well, I think that.
But I still say that, anyway, back to the original question, I think you've expressed your opinion. I think you've expressed your opinion. But I'm just trying to give Higginbotham here some idea of where you want them to focus their efforts. And if developing a plan that's going to cost the employees significantly more is not something that you want to consider, tell her so that she doesn't waste her time, and let her find us some cost savings elsewhere.
Okay, we found a little chart
Yep.
that y'all did.
Yep.
And it's actually a little chart. The current base plan rates are cheaper than the little chart.
Uh-huh.
Okay?
Yep.
So why don't I come up with, we use the same buyout plan, the two rates, and send it to Judge Lee and let him distribute it and let y'all think about it. And then we'll meet back maybe next week and just, because this part needs to be decided.
We have enrollment, with already.
Yeah, do we not want to wait and meet when you get some renewals on stop loss?
That's not gonna make a difference as far as the enrollment goes. I mean, it's kind of what it's gonna be, and that's not gonna affect what you decide contribution wise. I don't think there's gonna be
In other
enough.
words, the decisions we're talking about right now, we can make before stop loss decisions.
That's correct.
Okay. Well, how long do you need, Tony, to put something together for us to look at?
First next week, something like that. I'm out on Tuesday. I think I'm here Monday.
I'm gone Thursday, Friday.
If we did something next week, in other words, you understand why we need to gather back together to finalize these changes for the 8th. What day?
I can do Monday morning
October 2nd.
or Wednesday afternoon.
Does Chris need to be here for this one?
No.
Okay.
Bless your heart, no. Okay, so, and Steve, you said you're going Thursday, Friday? I mean,
Yeah, I mean, if you didn't mind, it's fine, I think.
Monday morning?
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday?
I can do Monday morning or, I'm out of town Tuesday or Wednesday afternoon.
Okay, Monday morning is pretty quick from now. Is that going to give you enough
Well,
time?
You won't take her
It's
like
gonna take me how long? I mean, I'm pretty much gonna do this and I'm gonna give you two options.
She probably has something new, by tomorrow, kind of something you can chew it on.
Okay. Y'all want to look at Monday morning or Wednesday afternoon? Anybody have any conflict?
I don't have anything.
Next Monday, 5 days from now, or Wednesday, 7 days from now?
I just have to leave here by 12 because I'm this morning's long.
On what? On what, Monday?
On Monday, yeah, so it's Monday, it needs to be.
I don't think we're talking about a long conversation.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
10 o'clock, 10 o'clock Monday?
Well, we don't need, since we're not waiting for Chris, we could meet at 9. Y'all tell me what works best for your schedule. 9 okay?
9 fine with
okay?
me.
Al, you
9
okay with
okay.
9? 9 o'clock Monday morning? I'll get an agenda posted there. I can't recess this one. We'll post another agenda. And that'll be solely to look at plan changes for the 2018
Actually, not plan
year.
changes, just rate changes.
Well,
Yeah, if you're gonna leave this, but the buy plan is the one plan.
Use the buyout plan and change the rate.
well, we still haven't talked about any other changes we might want to make to deductible or co-pays or any of that.
No, I mean, that'd be something that'd be a start point.
Well, let my agenda item include any possible changes to rates or plan specifics.
Yep.
Okay. Monday. Is there anything else, fellas, ladies? Chris, thanks for coming over. We will continue this discussion on Monday, and I'll distribute to you as soon as I have some numbers from Tony.
Thank you for having me, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, John.
Thank y'all. Make the motion to adjourn.
Oh, yeah, I forgot that. Motion's made by Dana to, yes.
Number 2 is consider possibly approving any changes to the county health insurance. Do you want to table that?
Yeah, let's table that one first, since we're not going to make any, are we going to make any changes today? When do we want to decide whether or not to go with the premium PDL and the benefit in hand online enrollment?
And the mail order program. I'm sorry, I was talking, are y'all
Why
talking
don't
action items?
let's discuss and decide on all of those on Monday,
Tell me which ones you said again?
The premium PDL, the benefit in hand online enrollment, and the forced mail order.
Mandatory mail order, okay.
We will consider those along with Monday's discussion.
And with benefit in hand, actually, I've already emailed you a COBRA proposal. You received, Sharon, that came just minutes ago. I sent it. That will be wrapped into that benefit in hand proposal because I think they're going to go together.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, whatever changes that you would like to see us make, let's have those on your list to discuss and decide on Monday.
So that takes me, everything I wrote down with the exception of the cardiac calcium test, which I think we need a little bit more information on before we can talk about that.
All right. So need a motion to table any changes.
I'll make a motion.
Motion's made by Commissioner Applewhite to table item number 2 until Monday. Need a second?
Second.
Second, Commissioner Parker, all in favor of tabling, say aye.
Aye.
Now, Commissioner Applewhite makes a motion to adjourn, and it's seconded by
Second.
Commissioner Parker, all in favor, say aye.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.